get a little bit of bedhead Betty this morning. Bedhead Betty. Let me see if I can lift this up and turn it down so I'm not so, I guess not. It's not going to work because I got the light. I got my window behind here, so it's making my face kind of drawn out. But that's okay. You guys hear me. You guys see me. I just wanted to let everybody know that this is what my pajamas look like. Somebody was on a on a channel that was reviewing the interview and said that I was in pajamas all day yesterday. And I'm thinking, well, I got up really early. I had a face full of makeup, put some clothes on, actually dropped my car off at a dealership and everything else. So I thought since everybody didn't know what I look like in my pajamas, even though I come here like almost every Saturday morning in my pajamas, I figured I would throw my pajamas on for the one that likes to say that I'm in pajamas during the day. Which, you know, if I am, I am. I stay home literally all day. I've been broke down on a car for 3 months, right? And then I had another person say, because I talked to you guys about the problems I'm having in my life, like my car, and some Yahoo says that I'm e-begging for a new car because we're having a discussion about the shit that's going on in my life. Like, I'm not supposed to say anything. So guys, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry for, you know, just coming here and being personal with you and letting you know I have a life just like yours, kind of normal, where, you know, shit does fall apart every now and again and things get a little hectic, you know, it's life. And I let my audience know that I deal with life too, so they don't feel alone. I'm telling you, it's freaking nuts. It's nuts out there. You guys should be thankful. You guys should get along over here. You guys do get along over here, honestly, much better than some people over there do. It's like, okay. So I thought I'd come here in my pajamas, so everybody knows what I look like in my pajamas. You know, I wouldn't want, and my pajamas are like this. I got a black pair too, you know. This is the one I like the best because it's got the coffee cup on it, you know, and I'm a coffee fanatic. So this is the one I like the best. But I do have a black one, you know. It's the one that has the longer sleeves and the pants, you know. So, and it gets a little cold in here. I put that one on instead of the pink one, okay? And I got other ones, and yes, I do wash them for all those people that want to sit there and say, oh my God, she wears the same thing tonight. No, I wash it. But I do put it on a clean body. I did want to remind everybody that. Yeah, I do smell freshly showered, I have to say. I like the way I smell. Can you guys smell me? I smell beautiful in the morning. Smell that? Smell that? So there's not really a whole lot to report in this. I mean, there's really not. I thought it was a great interview. I know people were going to pick it apart and, do whatever they're going to do for their benefit. You know, it happens with everything. What do you do, right? What do you do? So I'm just glad that he got a chance to be out there, you know. Can you believe that somebody's like, I think this was the most aggressive interview he's ever done. And I'm thinking, aggressive? The man was crying half the time. I'm like, what in the world? You talk about some crazy ass, I mean, seriously, some crazy people out there that are like, and they're showing this, and they're showing him like crying, and they're like, oh yeah, this is the most aggressive. I'm like, okay, whatever. Good morning, Beach. It's nice to see you, my love. It's nice to see you, Layla. They said he made, oh yeah, like exactly, like where? It was all because somebody got caught with, they got busted. That's what it all came down to. When you get busted, what do? You try to throw shade, right? You try to do damage control. But I think the proof was in the pudding on this one. And I'm just like, this is freaking nuts. People are so stupid. And then they involve TBI. Like, I'm thinking, dude, you don't do, like, I don't know. Especially embellishing something. I don't know. I think that was really poor. I think all of this, like, as far as PR, public relations for these channels, I think they just took a major hit. That's just me personally. I don't know. I don't know. I can't deal with the drama. I don't know how you guys do it. I guess, you know what, but that is kind of I guess to get people fighting with one another, I guess the the tug and pull, I guess, is what it is. I don't know. I just don't like it. I just like being here for the victims. I've been pulled and prodded and everything for the last 3 years. It's like, you know what? I'm over it. I've got, like, I don't have to deal with it. Nobody has to deal with this shit. So we're not dealing with it. We're not dealing with it. But what I can say is that Sebastian is still gone, right? Sebastian is still gone. He still hasn't been found. He hasn't been found for a massive number of days. And at this point, I think we can all conclude that he's probably not someplace easily accessible. Okay? I mean, that is probably, you know, yeah, I know. Raina, hopefully I'm saying, is it Rena or Raina? If I'm butchering your name, I'm so sorry. But yeah, she does need it. This idea, like I now have a feel, because that was the first time. People think that I've talked to Seth and all that. That was literally, everybody's like, why did she ask that? That's been asked. Because I don't like hearing secondhand information. You see what I'm saying? If I ask it and I ask him the question and he tells me the question, then I know that's what he's saying and how he's saying it to me, not taking it from somebody else. You know, so, you know, there were some people who are like, oh, we know the answer to that. Yeah, you may know the answer to that, but I have this man in front of me and I want to get his answer, how he's going to tell me and answer my question about it. And so then I can say, okay, I know for a fact that this is what he told me, right? This is not coming from another person. This is not coming from another channel. This is me asking him the question and him responding to me. And if you know anything about me, one thing I don't like is I don't like other people's work. It's not that they're not doing good work, okay? It's not that I'm criticizing them like that. You know, everybody does their work their own way, but everybody does their work their own way. Okay, so their information may compute, or how somebody says information to them may compute completely different in their brain than it computes for my brain. And when they're trying to explain it to me, they're explaining it from their purview, not mine. And then I'm getting their view of the situation, not mine. So there is a reason why I do what I do. Thank you, Beach. But I like to hear this stuff for myself. I don't care if I know the answer. I mean, look at this. I thought, for just a stupid example of that, when I asked what's his favorite activity and what's his least favorite activity, what he told me was completely opposite. I wasn't even thinking about it. I thought it was video games and not cleaning his room. It was actually, he hates being awake and actually loves to sleep or something like that. It was something completely different than what because I had a preconceived notion that this is the answer. But I asked the question anyways, even though I thought I knew the answer. And guess what? I didn't know the answer. What I thought was the answer was completely opposite of really what the answer was. And that's just a perfect example of why I ask questions for myself and want them to respond to me. Not that other people hadn't asked the question, but maybe they didn't ask it the exact same way, or, maybe it elicited a different response because of a different way of it being asked. I don't know. I don't know. But I do think that this is just an opinion. So just bear with me with it as I try to walk you guys through my opinion. So I'm kind of thinking, we've received a lot of piecemeal information, right? Like we've received that, they think he walked out of the house, and we received that there were dogs that tracked a scent, and then we were heard, over here that there was a false hit, and then we're trying to see if this over here has to do with this. So we are literally trying to fit these tidbits of puzzle pieces together and make sense of it, because we're behind the 8 ball. Thank you, girl next door. God bless you. We're behind the 8 ball. But here's the issue is we are feeling ourselves with all the information that there's definitely something wrong. We felt for a while, we were very confused how this boy would leave with everything that we're learning. Because one hand, the parents, and all parents are saying, one thing, and like Chris and Katie are basically saying this child would not walk out like this, but this child did walk out like this. And law enforcement is saying, wait a minute, we can't even, we know that this child came home, but we can't see how this child left. So we have all these things. And so we know that law enforcement is tuned into these, because before they stopped communication with the public, you could tell that they were becoming uneasy. You know, it was like they had the interview with the dog searcher, one of them. And he said, in my 30-something years, this is not verbatim, so please don't take it verbatim. I can't remember where. I just remember watching it with my own eyes. I don't remember where. I don't remember what news. And I remember it was in the first few days that they were searching before they cut the searches off. That's the area I can tell you to go focus on. You'll find it and you'll hear these interviews. It was with a news crew. It wasn't a press conference or anything like that. And it was the searcher. There was two of them, I think, that day, and one was a little concerning from the Eric Hadley with what he said to, or maybe it was a statement. I got to go back, but I remember reading it. Anyways, the searcher said that in his 30-something years, he's never not found something. And right now they're in a quagmire. He didn't say quagmire, that they have not found anything. And that was from the searcher. And when Nick Barris was in a war room that had like all the maps and stuff of the county and stuff, that same guy that gave that interview to that news crew on the ground was the same guy in there. So I realized that must have been the volunteer searcher, and he has a position at the sheriff's office. So I believed what his statement was, you know, because I didn't know at the time. I just thought it was a volunteer searcher, but I did see that same man in a Nick Barris interview. And then there was a time right before, I think it was at the, I want to say it was when the landfill search was going on. Chief Eric Hadley was questioned either before that or after that. I remember what he said at the landfill when they were asking him about the precautionary. He basically said this is just a precautionary measure to eliminate this. And of course, everybody didn't believe it, but that's what he said. It was either before that one or directly after that. He starts talking about that this, something's not adding up. I can't remember the wordage he used, but it was basically that this may be, they're now having, this is what he said, so they're now having to entertain the possibility of foul play. And that's when everybody started getting a little antsy in their pantsy. And then shortly thereafter, all communications with law enforcement outside of that press conference happened. In that press conference, he kind of walked some statements back, basically, trying to say this is an investigation. We don't know whether, he kind of started playing a little bit of word salad there. But there was that time where he was on the record saying that we may now have to start entertaining foul play. So some people wanted me to go back and find that, and I'm happy to do that, but I'm going to throw this out there. I know there's a lot of people out here, so I know you guys know where the clip is. If you guys know that clip where they're discussing now having to entertain foul play, if you guys could send that to me at bullhornbetty@gmail.com, I would greatly appreciate it. Again, it's not a press conference. It is a news clip that was done. And I believe it was right around the time of the landfill search. It was, if I recall correctly in my memory, I can't remember the dates or anything like that. I can only remember, what was going on at the time that I remember hearing it. So that's kind of where we are with that. But I know there were some people that were asking me about that. I'm 100% positive I heard it. I know it's out there. I just need to find it and get that uploaded. So, Mama Bear, God bless you. It's nice to see you, love. I have wanted to have hope for Sebastian, but he's just, that's the bad part. And you know what? That's the part, I think, the reason why Seth was so much more emotional on my interview. Well, I know the questions I were asking were more sentimental and more emotional. I wasn't designing it to be that way, honestly. It's just hard because I'm trying to keep it about Sebastian, and it's a very touchy subject. Plus, I'm trying to acquire additional information. and trying to do it in such a delicate way that it doesn't rock the boat or upset all the parties. I have my opinion about Chris and Katie. I don't know unless other information comes forward, which none has come forward to date, that's going to change that opinion of me. But I still, out of respect, whether whatever, I still want to respect all the people involved. I mean, when I'm by myself and I have my own opinions, that's one thing. But I don't want to involve my audience or my my guests. I don't want to involve them into my personal stuff, what I think. And so I was trying very hard to remove my personal stuff, all the while trying to still acquire information, because this is the only opportunity. And I have opinions, right? So, for example, the reason why I have certain opinions is because of this. And if he can answer or settle this, maybe this doesn't hold water and I can remove it, and maybe it'll change my position toward Katie and Chris, right? So I am, because he's the only one I can ask. So I'm asking him these questions, and, he's kind of confirming some of the stuff I have as opposed to not. Now, there was one thing that, like, I was absolutely, I was kind of shocked about, was the tornado. How Sebastian reacted in a spontaneous weather event. I was kind of shocked. It almost, like, I almost envisioned it. Like, I didn't want to laugh, but I almost envisioned this cute little kid with boots on and a little hat and, like the rain gear, and sitting in the house waiting for the storm. Like, it was so cute. Like, I was envisioning this cute boy in like rain boots and stuff. Like, the way he was describing it, it was cute. But it let us know that he can handle some stresses, unknown stresses, as long as the people he's around maintains a calm demeanor. That was a little shocking to me. And you know what, guys? Listen, this is my opinion, and I know that maybe my audience agrees with me. Maybe they totally disagree with me. But I'm kind of a middle of the road with pharmaceuticals and stuff like that. I do believe that we should always take our doctor's advice. We go to them. They have a lot more education and stuff like that, and you should follow your doctor's advice. But you should also think for yourself and ask a lot of questions when you go to a doctor. Even doctors tell you that, right? Always ask questions. Make sure you understand what you're doing, and discuss, because something that your doctor maybe he's not thinking about. You know your body better than anybody else, right? So it was hearing him concerned about, and because I have experience, I told you guys about my husband's stepfather and how he had an aneurysm, and they put him on medication for many, many years. It was the medication that ended up killing his liver and kidneys, and he ended up losing his life, not from the aneurysm that they were trying to protect him from, but the medication that they were using to keep him from the aneurysm from bursting, which would have instantaneously, right? So they kept him alive for 20 or 30 years, longer than he probably would have without the medication. I get that. But you should, especially in young children, I'm very cautious about that, because your brains are developing, and I'm sorry, there will never be enough studying on this earth to make me want to try to give a child developing their brain pharmaceutical medication. I'm sorry, there's just something about me. I don't want to tell you guys not to or anything like that. Just for me personally, it's uncomfortable to think of that with the child's brain developing and not knowing the true consequences of that 20 or 30 years later. So I do appreciate how cognizant and cautious he was about medication and trying to find other different things that provided the same type of result, but a different method. And it's like the coffee was something that I thought, wow, and to think that professionals were, why they wouldn't say, hey, you know what, why not try this? Why not see if the caffeine, a home remedy, something that's easily filtered through your body, that's not, because chemicals do something to your body. And so I'm sitting there thinking about that. Sorry about that. I had to put my do not disturb on. Filter your body naturally and not chemicals, because when you have chemicals in your body, and this is for like high fructose corn syrup, this is not just for pharmaceuticals, this is chemicals in general. There's a lot of chemicals in our food. That's what causes us to retain a lot of weight, is because it's too busy filtering out the chemicals and not the good stuff. So you have to understand that. And so I was listening to that. To me, showed me the level of care that he had for his son, that he was asking, making sure that this was right for his son, as opposed to another family member just going along to get along. So I people may not like Seth's parenting style, but it showed he cared. It showed that he was in tune with his son and his medical care. It shows that if he had a problem, he did challenge those questions he had for the benefit of his son, to make sure his son was getting all the proper care. That means something to me. When I heard that, I went back to my interview, because I was giving the interview. It's hard to retain a lot of stuff. I mean, literally, when you're in an interview like that, you're retaining 5 seconds of the interview at a time. It's as calm, cool, and collective, as cool as a cucumber that it appears that I was. I can tell you that you're trying to think about what you're going to say next. There's a thousand things going on. And he, I think, did very well. But when I went back and looked at it, it really did show me something that I was not paying attention to, and I wish I would have capitalized on it at the time of the interview. And that was hearing how much he was in tune in his son's life, how much he was involved in his son's life, how much he took his son's medical condition to heart, and it was a top concern for him. That right there shows a caring father, because a deadbeat father doesn't give a shit. We all know that. Definitely not willing to go to the mattress or scream or get upset with a professional. And everybody's like, well, most of us have normal children. Most of us don't have disabled children. And I can tell you that I've talked to enough parents of disabled children to know that they're mama bears and papa bears when it comes to their kids. We know that. Every single parent in here has said, when it comes to their children and people, possibly being mean to them or anything like that, or their care, they are mama bears and papa bears. They protect their children because they know that people are cruel and mean. And they know, like in Sebastian's situation, they said, I think Seth said something like there was only 6 or 8 reported cases in the world of the kind of disability that his son has. That means there is no doctor that has really a good education or understanding of what Sebastian is going through. So for his father to be questioning everything, I would think that would be a right course of action, in my opinion, because it is so rare. How do you know this doctor knows that this will work? How do you know that this is the right course of action? Nobody knows about this illness. Can't we try something besides pharmaceuticals first, since nobody knows what they're dealing with here? I mean, that's basically, he didn't say it like that, but that's basically what I heard. Possibly, Tiffany. I don't know. I got a different viewpoint of Katie. From Seth's size. And when you go back and apply what we know about Katie to date, it could be plausible. It would bode in with statistical, the statistics of a child that has been raised the way Katie has been raised. The bouts of the fits. She sleeps like a rock, which was pretty interesting. Okay, he talked about how she slept. And my question is that she talked about sleeping on the couch, and I couldn't understand why in the world that was removed from her story moving forward. And I would have to think that it was removed because according to people that knew Katie, would have known she slept like a rock. And once she's down, she's down. So maybe her sleeping on the couch was a total lie until she was challenged on it, potentially. I don't know. I just know that it's never been talked about since the Duchess interview. And or I haven't gone through all the interviews. I shouldn't say that. I haven't heard it since then. Let me couch it that way. I haven't heard it since then. So if I haven't heard it since that first interview, and we have watched a significant number of interviews, I just never heard it again. Maybe it's because they know that if she would have fell asleep, she wouldn't have woke up, and that would have tainted the rest of her story. So many podcasters says it was deliberate because Katie didn't want to lose CP money for support. It's possible. And I think the reason why possibly there was no child support is because with Katie and Chris, they made more money than, say, Seth, and it might have been easier for Seth to take over the insurance as opposed to paying. I don't know. That's just an assumption being made by some information. I don't know that to be true, but it just makes me wonder because we know how Chris hates child support. That's why he wanted Faith, because he doesn't want to pay Nina, the gold digging bee, right? In his words, any money for his own child. So I keep wondering, was it in the back of their head that Seth would do the flipperoo, and once he had Sebastian and realized how costly it was to take care of Sebastian full time, that he would be going after them for child support? Maybe that had something to do with it. I've heard people bring up that possibility, but there's definitely something there. I think it's very, to me, I think it's much more simpler than that. I really do. I don't think it had specifically to do with her losing Chris. I think whatever happened, it sounded like he had an overstimulating day. He might have been bouncing off the walls when he got home, and they may have had an altercation. She may have lost her cool. We heard that she drinks, and some people had brought up to me early on, and because I didn't have any information about it, I didn't really, I like to bring up stuff when I start having a little more information on something, right? And so some people had brought up early on, maybe Katie got a little too, had a few cocktails at the Texas Roadhouse, and, and something set her off. So I don't know if that's true, but now that we know that she does drink heavily or has been known to drink heavily, it does put a little more weight on that statement or that rumor that was going on that she might have been under the influence at the time that some altercation had taken place. And so when I was thinking about that, I was looking back on that, the situation, and this would have happened at 10, and they would have left the restaurant around 6:30. 4 hours, she should have been, whatever she drank in that little bit of time, should have been filtered out of her system. If she was intoxicated when she got home, which I hope she wasn't driving with a child, under the influence, but whatever the case may be, if she did, I would at least assume by 10 o'clock she was fairly sober. And we don't know that, cutie patootie. We don't know that. We don't know. I've never heard one person allege that she had an alcoholic beverage at the Texas Roadhouse that night. That hasn't even been alleged. Just somebody was talking that, what if she did? Nobody, still to date, I don't think anybody has accused Katie of drinking that night when she was out with Sebastian. So I truly don't know if she did. I would think probably not. I would think that she might be one of those people that go home and then drink. So that might be something, but I don't know. Oh, thank you. Thank you, Sheila. So we're still, trying to piecemeal this together, but I think for everybody involved, the one thing we pulled out of that interview with almost 100% certainty is that Seth doesn't believe that his son walked out of the house. It doesn't sound like it sounds like law enforcement is having a hard time understanding how he could have left the home. And of course, we've brought it up here that we felt that there is no evidence that this child ever walked out of the home willingly. That to me was important for me and in my assessment of this case. There were a few other things that did pop up that was interesting. I know that Seth is not allowed to talk about the CPS reports. I was very respectful for that. I was already forewarned, up front that, it cannot be discussed. So I didn't want to get him into a legal quagmire. I understood the situation, and so I wanted to be very utmost respectful for that, especially being provided that information prior to the interview. So I did ask him if he would be able to answer whether or not what he found in those reports were shocking. And he said, yes, they were. He said they. Yes, they were, and that it was a little more insight than anything for him. And that the one thing that he would say on the record was that in those reports, the only place that Sebastian told the people that he felt safe was at his dad's house. That means a lot to me, because the narrative that's being driven about Seth does not bode with the information or the factual evidence. Did he make mistakes? Yeah, I don't know a parent that didn't. I had somebody reach out to me and ask me, how do I feel about Seth? What did it say? How do I feel about Seth watching Mortal Kombat with his 5-6-year-old son? And I said, well, as a grandparent, because I don't have my own biological children, when my grandchildren wit's your full time, the bottom line is there's probably 1,000 things that I would probably do differently now. When it's your first time, you make a lot of mistakes. It's a growing and learning process. So if he did make a mistake many, many years ago, I'm sure that those things have been corrected. But at the end of the day, it has no relevance on why I'm here. I'm here because of a missing boy that went missing in 2024 from situations that happened in 2023 and 2024, not situations that happened many, many, many years ago that most likely have been corrected. And my father, and I even put this in there, my father took me to Terminator when I was 5. Are we going to burn my dad at the stakes? What? But, I don't understand this, nobody in my chat is perfect, but this idea that we have to make sure everybody's perfect to help them is weird to me, because I myself am not perfect. I don't have a perfect audience. I don't have perfect moms and dads. I don't have perfect grandparents. I don't have anybody that's around me or associated with me that's perfect. Nobody. Hell, half the people I hang out with are recovering addicts and criminals. If you want the truth, we're a hot mess express over here. We're a hot mess express over here. It's what you do with your life. Everybody makes mistakes. It's how you process them. For the longest time, I kept making the same damn mistake. It took me damn 20 years to pull my head out of my ass. Jeez, Louisa, I don't know how long it took you. Maybe I was just glutton for punishment. I don't know. I don't know what my problem was. I knew I could do this. I just wanted to do it my way. That's all. That's why it took 20 years. It's because I'm stubborn. I wanted to do it my way. I had this. I knew my way was right? I bet you all saying, oh, well, I know better, right? So did I. A couple more arrests later. Maybe I don't have it like I think I got it. Just saying. Just saying. So, it is what it is. I don't get this whole perfection thing. I really don't. It has taken me a long time in my life to learn that me trying to obtain perfection is a feat I will never, ever accomplish. So quit trying, right? What I live in now is am I better today than I was yesterday? That's how I judge myself today. Some days I'm a total failure. I wake up the next morning with, am I better today than I was yesterday? Nope, sure not. I went straight back to school. All right? So even in my perfection, the perfection of being imperfect, I'm imperfect at, right? Work in progress. That's what it is. That's what it is. And, some days I wake up and I'm a complete and utter failure. Woke up on the wrong side of the bed, did everything wrong that day. The great part is now I can say, you know what? You effed that day up. Let's go to bed and let's try not to do that tomorrow. That's where I live. I don't know where you guys live, but that's where I live on a daily, right? So as long as somebody else votes like that, I'm cool. I'm cool, right? But I'm definitely not going to put something on somebody else that I can't do myself. I can't be perfect. Why in the world would I try to make a parent be perfect for me? I'm definitely not perfect for them. I come with a whole bunch of baggage and trauma and God knows what else. Good Lord. If we unearthed me, you guys would be wondering how the hell I'm... Why I'm not in a freaking padded room with a freaking suit. I'm just saying. Life's life. There's parts in our life that are probably next to The Shining, and I say that all the time, but it's true. There are points in our lives that look like it's straight out of the Twilight Zone. I guarantee when you're 60 years old, you're going to look back and say, that was really a bad time in my life, but we all got through it. And thank God it wasn't plastered all over YouTube. Just saying. So there's that. Anyways, guys, I love you. No one's perfect. Yeah, exactly. The only perfect being. Which reminds me, tomorrow's church. If you guys want to come over, I go to church at Countryside Christian Church. I post it on my Twitter page and I post it on my YouTube community page. So if you guys would like to come and hang out with the coffee club, it's because there's a lot of people I didn't realize when I came on this platform that the reason why they're here is because they're bedridden, right? It doesn't mean that they don't want to go places. It doesn't mean that they don't want to, some people have mobility issues and they have no choice but to be trapped in their home. I've been unwillingly trapped in my home for 3 months. I hate it. So, sometimes people and I figured, and it's amazing. We have a lot of people from the coffee club that are now coming to church on Sunday. So I think it's a win-win. So I always, put that out there for anybody that would like to. You're more than welcome to, if you're alone on Sunday and you want to pray and you want to start your week off right, come in and hang out with us. We're a crazy group. What can I say? We're a whole bunch of crazy nuts that try to do the right thing. Are we perfect at it? Nope. And neither will you. So quit trying, right? Just be better. All right, guys. God bless. We'll see you soon.